Hey guys, this is kind of going to be a little bit of a different video today. Normally I just turn on the record button and open the game and I just record myself playing some gameplay, live commentary, just talking about whatever bullshit that comes to mind. Usually it's about Brawl Stars related stuff though, but today I want to talk about something that's a little bit more personal and a problem that I didn't really notice that I had until like kind of just now. Well, I think in the back of my mind I've always knew it was there, but I never really consciously thought about it or was aware of it as the problem until recently today when I woke up after my 36, I think almost 40 hours subathon that I did earlier this week. Felt more well rested than I have in a long time, and I guess I was in a contemplative mood or something because I just like had this realization like, whoa, what am I doing with my life? I wasn't the subathon was a bad thing. It was actually helpful. I'll talk more about it. The purpose of this video, I'm not really sure. I guess it's just like if someone out there is going through a similar thing, I don't know, maybe my thoughts here might help you kind of escape this trap that I've fallen into. I realize I've fallen into for the past maybe better part of the decade, honestly, now that I think about it. Because I think if I had started working on this issue a lot sooner, it would help me more. The problem that I want to talk about in this video and what this video is about is basically I realized today that I have a problem with escapism. I have an addiction to escapism. And what I mean by that, if you don't know what escapism refers to, I'm not actually even sure what the definition is. I throw it up here really quickly. But to me, what escapism means is just like the desire to get lost in kind of a fantasy, that to like try to escape reality and maybe get lost in or daydream about or obsess over something that isn't real. I think as a kid, I had always had like a very strong or active imagination. I would just get lost daydreaming all day, playing with toys in my house or something. And as I grew older and grew out of toys, the escapism never stopped. If anything, it just switched targets. When I was in middle school, I would spend all day like reading books, basically just spending sometimes like 8 hours a day just reading fantasy books. And, adults around me would always say like, oh my God, look at you, you're reading, how studious of you. Because I wasn't, I guess, swiping on my phone or whatever. It wasn't really always a good thing. I spent so much time reading books that I didn't really have too many friends growing up in middle school. I just didn't talk to other kids my age that much. I didn't go outside very often. I didn't do a lot of physical exercise. I was very out of shape as a kid growing up. And that was something that I kind of had to learn to work on and improve. Eventually managed to just kind of like diet max and brute force myself through sheer willpower to lose all my weight because I was low-key kind of fat as a kid. And then now I'm not a skinny queen or anything, but I'm all right if I look at myself in the mirror. And that's all I'm really going for. And then in high school, when I switched off of books, I eventually drew my attention towards video gaming, specifically like MMOs and RPGs. It's just really easy to get just lost in a world of RPGs and MMOs especially. I played an MMO called Trove, some shitty free-to-play like voxel-based MMO that game is fucked right now. I don't know, nobody even plays it anymore, but back then that was like my shit. I was like top 10 in the world at some point in like a specific class called the Dracolite. Purple, blue, yellow, even red name at some point and whatnot. I would get lost in video games and also a lot of isekai manga and then manhwa, and then just like, it's like, if you don't know what that is, it's just like cartoons basically, but they're Asian. And so they, comes with it all the Asian fixation on minors, all the fantasy tropes. And like, if you've ever seen an anime that's, I get hit by a car and I get reincarnated as a fantasy creature in another world full of orcs and elves and dwarves and demons, and I have like a system that gives me powers. That's all based on like either a Korean or Japanese comic, and usually even that is based on like a web novel, which I've also recently started to read. If any of you know the lore on that, I've started to read web novels now. This whole kind of escapism, as I've kind of broadly categorized these hobbies as, is it's like a hobby, right? It's like just something that it's people, normal healthy people do this and it's fine. You can engage in a little light reading, you can play some games, that's fine. I make videos about fucking Brawl Stars, I'm not one to say like, oh, quit all gaming or quit all reading, it's bad for you, like, no. But in my case specifically, it's not just a hobby. It's like pervasive mental desire to just exist in a different world for like hours at a time. Like I will sit down, and if I start reading a manga, for example, that really sucks me in, I will sit down and it will be like 6 p.m. and I will pull an all-nighter to finish it in one sitting if I really get into it. That has happened on multiple occasions before. I'm not kidding. And I have lost sleep just to keep reading because I just don't want to stop. When I was in school, this would actually lead to literally me like kind of walking as a zombie through school, but I'll feel like fine. I felt like it was worth it because I managed to finish the fictional story that has no meaningful positive outcome on my life. I mean, a lot of these fantasy stories, isekai especially, no offense, these are fucking slop stories. They're a lot of them are copy paste, generic bullshit kind of aimed at an adolescent audience that just strokes at a power fantasy and usually offers very little substance or anything that gives you like a meaningful skill in life. I still sacrificed my own well-being physically and also probably some of my social life, my performance in school, just to read this one story. And then after I finished it, I would move on to the next one that I could find. When I had a J-Slur for a bit, there would be not so infrequent moments where I would just show up to work like dead tired. I barely got anything productive done. I was working super slow. It was like a min-wage job, so I didn't really care that much about it or anything. But still, like if it was something that I actually cared about, that would not be good. But I probably would have still just pulled that all-nighter anyways, either reading whatever comic book or playing whatever game. In high school, I did this too a lot, where I would just stay up all night grinding Trove and then show up to school fucking half asleep. I would skip meals sometimes. Like I would stay up for 12 hours just reading and then not eat anything during that time. It is just stupid. But you know, it's not like I'm doing drugs and it's not like I'm hurting anybody. In fact, this is a pretty private hobby, quote unquote, where most people don't even realize you have it unless you tell them. Like, you know, you show up to school tired one day and you're like, I got a little too into reading. You know, no one really bats an eye at that. If instead it was I stayed up all night because I was fucking coked out on meth, you know, now people are like worried. They're like, whoa, what's going on with you? Like, hey, you gotta get that figured out, because if you let that grow, it'll really eat away at your life. Like when it comes to reading a book or even on some level maybe playing a game, it's seen as more socially acceptable. And so I never really even thought of it as a problem, really. Like, I mean, yeah, like I'll lose sleep and I'll skip hangouts with friends to just read. But like, so what, you know? Ultimately, it's just a hobby and I'm not hurting anybody. And even if I skip a hangout or two with some friends, like I'll just hang out with them later. It's fine. Like I was pretty good in school. So even though I was, you know, maybe not studying that hard, or like if I got home from high school, for example, and I played fucking Trove until 1 a.m., if I just put like 1 hour in, I could probably get all my homework done and it would be good work. Like I would get it all done and then go to sleep by 3 a.m., wake up at 7, you know, go to school, and I basically get everything done. And I got A's in school. Like I was kind of good at that procrastination game where you get a sense of just how little work you need to do in order to get maximum efficient results. But even from that angle too, now that I think about it, I would actually intentionally choose easier classes just so I could do that and pull that off. In my high school, we had a distinction in classes between AP, kind of like IB for people who, yeah, it's AP classes that was like the hardest level, quote unquote. And because those could also give you like credits for college. And then there was honors classes and there was something called college prep classes, which were kind of seen as like the shitty, like bottom of the barrel class. The kids that were barely scraping C's all went to that area. And then everyone else who like kind of actually wanted to try in academics took the honors classes. And then everyone else who were giga tryhards, they took the AP classes. And I would intentionally choose to pick the CP classes. I chose CP over a good academic. I'm not kidding. That's just what the abbreviation was. I just didn't want to work that hard because I wanted to continue playing my MMO that had no bearing on the real world. But in that MMO world, I was a top 10 Dracolite in the world with tens of millions of flux on my account. I controlled like several clubs. I guess they're like clubs in Brawl Stars, if you know what that, clans and Clash of Clans, whatever, like social groups. And even if that sacrifice might bite me in the ass later, like I just didn't want to ever think about it. I mean, that's kind of the point, right? That's why I would spend all my time playing games and reading, is because I just didn't want to ever have to think about my life and where I was going with it and what I was going to do with my future. Thankfully, I still had some teachers actually pressure me into taking AP classes because they're like, you're squandering your potential. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, okay, I guess, I don't know. I basically drifted my way through some AP classes, and that was actually able to kind of pull me through. And in my senior year, I locked in and I tried to sign up for all these random clubs to try to put on my resume, and that somehow pulled me through into a decent enough school. I got very lucky, but I was also kind of like rewarded low key for my shitty behavior, and just like I don't have to try that hard to do well. And I didn't, like, I spend a pretty sizable chunk of my day, most days, on my quote unquote hobbies, right? Not doing work, and I was doing fine in life. So I'm just gonna keep doing that, and I'm not gonna think about it. And that habit even continued into college. It continued to even now, low key. Like I've talked about in my videos, like, man, I'm picking up this web novel, and I just pulled an all-nighter, guys, to read it. I'm so sleep deprived. Like, man, guys, this 3,000 chapter web novel, Shadow Slave, I just picked it up and I finished finished it the other day. Like that's a lot of hours, a lot of days where I'm just spending reading. And it's not like, you know, enriching information that I'm getting from this. It's fucking information about how a random guy that doesn't exist is going to sleep and waking up with magic powers and then gets like the girl of his dreams. That's fun to read about, but it's not productive to my life at all. It's not gonna be what gets my next main channel video made. It's not a live stream where I'm like creating content. It's not a brainstorm on ideas for videos that I could do for the second channel that I upload every day. It's not me responding to my editors trying to figure out my video schedule. It's not thumbnails for the videos that I have to plan and coordinate and make. It's not email responses to advertisers who want to try to figure out something to get a sponsorship going. Usually all these advertisers are kind of not very good ads, so I don't accept them. But still, it's not even a rejection letter, you know, it's just me ghosting them. It's not me responding to any of the DMs that I get on Discord from my viewers or responding to stuff. It's not even me hanging out with my friends, my real life friends that I have kind of stopped talking to lately because I've just been obsessed over stories of people that don't exist in a world that doesn't exist, that will never benefit me in any way to learn about. And it's this last part that I think was kind of the wake-up call for me, kind of like very recently. Because I, like I said in the beginning of this video, I spent, I think, the first 3 days of this week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, basically streaming for 12 hours a day. On the last day, I streamed for more than 12 hours for a subathon that I was doing. And that took a lot out of me. That was like, I wake up every day, I try to blitz record a second channel video, and then I turn on stream, basically stream until 3 a.m. or something, turn off stream, dead tired. I try to unwind a little bit, but I basically give up and I just pass out and I go to sleep. And that was a pretty intense work schedule, quote unquote. Like, you know, I mean, you can say, you know, like obviously streaming is not the most difficult work that you could ever possibly do. But for me, who already has a pretty small, like limited social battery, I would say the best way that I could describe it to someone is like if you had to go to like a family dinner, but it's like with all of your relatives there, and so your mom is making you basically put on like a good performance, and like you have to kind of like be really polite and cordial to everybody, you have to dress well, you have to behave, but you also have to actually socialize and talk to everyone there. In fact, this is actually your birthday party, so now you have to be extra sociable, and this is for 12 hours, and every single family member there actually wants your attention because they want to hear what you have to say. You have to actually improvise a speech to talk to everybody that's going to keep their attention as much as possible for the next 12 hours. And also you don't get to eat anything, actually, even though it's your birthday. You're actually, because you're the main entertainer of the night. That's kind of the vibe. It is like a unique kind of social drain that does get me very tired at the end. Even after just like a 3-hour stream, I'm exhausted. 12 hours, I was kind of a zombie at the end of every stream, I'm not gonna lie. But even though it was very tiring for me, and I had to do it all in this fucking ridiculous getup with a wig on, don't watch those streams, God, please. What I actually really liked about it then, that I never really thought about too much before, was that it basically forced me to only do quote unquote work. The nature of the subathon made it so that I felt this urgent need to do productive activity, which is, you know, create content, which is stream. Like I wake up, I immediately just throw together a quick meal and then try to get my second channel video recorded as fast as possible so I could get back on streaming, so I could actually chip away at this insane 40-hour timer that I had set up for myself. Not even that I set up for myself, that you guys basically set for me by donating and subbing. And I didn't want to like scam people. I tried to do as much as I could to just get on and make content. And that was really refreshing, because leading up to this subathon, I have spent a lot more days than I would like to admit not being that productive. Basically, I wake up, I would, you know, record my second channel video, and I'd cook some food, and then after eating, I'd just sit on the couch and then maybe open my phone, and then what do you know, now a web novel is suddenly open, I just start reading, and then that suddenly turns from, okay, it's 3 p.m, I'm doing a little reading after eating and recording, to it's 3 a.m. now, and what the fuck, it's time to sleep, but I don't want to stop reading, so I'm gonna keep going until my eyes physically cannot continue reading anymore because they're just blurring together. But, you know, I got the recording done and the thumbnail is made, and, you know, I have an editor that's working on a main channel video, and it, you know, it's kind of my off day from streaming, so it's fine, right? You know, like I still go to the gym once a week, like I'm still doing productive stuff, kind of. So like everything is okay, except it kind of isn't. Like I haven't uploaded a video on my main channel in a while. Honestly, this is more just some kind of an issue that came up with my editor, who he's just like, I guess, really busy and doesn't, I don't know, have time for making my own video. I need to get probably more editors so I can make more main channel videos. I haven't uploaded on my main channel in a while though, And this is something that probably is also my fault. Like if I was just working on stuff more, I would get more stuff out, but I'm not because I'm spending all my time reading. I've basically kind of stopped talking or hanging out with my friends in real life. You know, I tell them like, oh, I'm just kind of like busy or whatever, but really I'm just losing myself to this kind of escapism from reality where I just spend all my time reading. Or I mean, even before I picked up web novels again, I was wasting all my day playing Terraria or something. You know, I was reading like manga or manhwa instead. I was gooning all day. That's like a whole nother rabbit hole that I don't think I want to get into in this video. Basically, it's like social interaction in general just kind of dropped off a cliff for me, except for the occasional moments when I do like, you know, grab food with a friend every now and then. But still, like, you know, that's not great. And not to mention, of course, that like, you know, when I'm spending all this time doing an escapism hobby, I'm also not doing a more productive hobby instead, like going to the gym for a second time in a week or learning a new skill, perhaps like, you know, practicing cooking more, or I don't know, taking an online class, maybe even just like trying to learn something, anything like learning to code. No, maybe not. Learning how to vibe code on Claude and Gemini, so I can maybe make my own websites for some fucking reason if I want to do that. There's just so much like free information out there and things that I could be doing that would be giving me new skills. And honestly, like these are things that I'm interested in. Like it would actually be cool to like, I don't know, make a game one day or something, learn to cook better, right? Like this is stuff that I'm actually interested in doing, or just like get healthier too, you know, like, you know, if I go to the gym more, I'd probably do more cardio. And I probably wouldn't die of a heart attack at 30, but that's probably what I'm just kind of signing up for, streaming, sitting in a chair all day for like 12 hours a day. Like this is all stuff that I would like to do, but I'm just not doing it because I kind of can't stop. That's like, this is kind of where it's all boiling down to. Like there's an opportunity cost to these escapist hobbies that I do. And even if I see one as a problem, like, you know, oh, I'm spending too much time playing games, I'm just gonna move on to a different one. I've honestly stopped playing games for the most part besides Brawl Stars. And that's only then, that's like, you know, when I'm streaming or recording for the most part. And instead now my quote unquote hobby is like, oh, I'm gonna read. But then when I stop reading like manga, I'll move on to like web novels instead, because that's like quote unquote in my head healthier. But really I'm still spending the same 8 hours as I was before doing nothing productive, before gaming or reading. And even before that in my past, it was, you know, Instagram reels and then TikToks, and then before that it was MMOs. You know, in my past it was like MMOs. It was honestly, it's probably just like, yeah, it's just cycling between like MMOs and reading, where I drop one in service of the other because I see one as like an unhealthy drain on my life. And I think today especially, I think coming off the back of like, you know, 3 days of just like actual only productive activity for the whole day and getting like a decent night's rest, you know, like I slept at a good time, like 11 p.m. I woke up at, you know, 10 a.m. I woke up and I actually saw this video on YouTube that was from this 30-year-old who was like the 10 worst mistakes you can make in your early 20s, and kind of a banger video, not gonna lie. But I saw it and I was like, he rated getting a girl pregnant as a much worse mistake to make than like hitting someone with your car and killing them, which I thought was kind of funny. But in the video, one of the things he kind of says offhand is that like something along the lines of, your early 20s, you're not gonna be that good at things, but if you spend this time building up skills, that's going to set you up really well for later down the line. And especially in the areas of hobbies, like yeah, you might be working at some dead-end job or whatever, but if you spend your free time in building up a new skill, that might help you, especially if you do it over the better part of your 20s, that'll really actually become a big boon to you when you're older. Same thing with relationships, right? Like relationships are one of those things that it's kind of underrated. It's something that it scales over time. Like it gets better, because the longer you've been a friend with someone, the more they kind of understand you, the more they know you and your problems, and maybe can, you know, hear you out on some things. They know the context for issues that you're dealing with, and they can give like kind of deeper insight on advice. They can be someone there that you can rely on when you're going through problems. You can even be there for them, and that can, you know, be fulfilling in its own way. Like relationships are kind of goated, and I'm not really spending or investing in that much time into them. When I'm 30, then I'll really be an uncle. Holy shit, what the oh, fuck. But you know, like I'm gonna be really grateful that I've had friendships for so long that I can look back on and be like, you really made it. But I'm not doing enough of that right now, and that's kind of like a missed opportunity. Same thing with romantic relationships, you know, like on some level, I keep joking about I'm a single lonely chud, but I'm not going outside to meet any women to unchud myself. I'm just complaining about a problem that I'm not working on fixing. Like that is probably, it's the pinnacle of stupidity. Like it's just dumb. It's stupid and it's self-defeating, and you know, it's pathetic. It's everything. Did I mention that after I finished reading Lord of the Mysteries and skimmed through Circle of Insanity or whatever the sequel was, I also then read all of Shadow Slave, and then I'm about to finish Mother of Learning, the first arc. And that is a very long art. Like, that's a pretty good chunk of reading. Like, if you guys know anything about web novels, this is an unhealthy pace for me to have made in, I guess, what, like, it's been 2-3 months. This is fucked. What am I doing? This is horrible. What the actual fuck? You know, draft guide when. No wonder there's been no draft guide, bro. I am just dumb as shit. No, but it's not just that I'm dumb. It's that I am lying to myself, and I'm also stuck in kind of a cycle because, like, I have all this stuff that I need to do. I have all this stuff that I would like to do. I'm not doing it, and that makes me feel bad. And so when I feel bad about myself, I just want to make that feeling go away, and the easiest way for me to do that, instead of actually doing any work, because that would suck, is I escape. I run to a web novel where I can forget myself and even my own world and my life and inhabit this fantasy land where I'm following this other character and going through his journey. Or I can inhabit this video game persona in an MMO that I've made for myself, who's actually, like, has some kind of clout or social credit. It's just anything to forget about my current troubles in a way that is easy and incredibly dopaminergic. Like, just instant gratification, no work necessary, just the least productive and most time-consuming activities. I will just gravitate towards those instead of actually, you know, making something of myself or my life or my skill set. And then that kind of makes me want to keep doing that again, because it's not like those problems that I have that I need to solve or figure out, you know, those don't go away when I open a book or start playing a game. Those will stay there, and they'll even get worse. And then that'll push me towards wanting to open a book or play a game more the next time, because, you know, those problems then get harder to solve. They make me feel worse about myself. And video games and web novels and manga, they stay as exciting as before for me, basically, actually. So it's in a way, it's even better than drugs. Reading a manga or a web novel, there's basically infinite mangas and web novels out there as long as you know where to look, and all of it is free and online if you also know where to look. Maybe not free, but, like, you know, if you know where to look, you can get anything you want. Yar har. And so unlike drugs, like, you'll never have to ruin your life financially, and then you'll never have to up your dose, because it's always going to be fun and exciting as long as you keep switching up the web novels or the manga that you're reading or the video games that you play. And yet it sucks just as much time out of your life, if not more, than what an actual drug would do. And it's even harder to detect because you don't suffer from withdrawal or, like, any kind of physical symptom that would indicate to your peers or to your family that you're actually struggling with something, you know, unless they really know you well. You can hide it very well. I don't even know if I should call it an addiction, but it feels that way to me. I am actually addicted to these hobbies that just allow for me to escape my reality and escape my troubles. And that is even against my better judgment that I probably shouldn't do it. Like, unironically, when my hand goes to open a web novel, I'm like, I probably shouldn't read this right now. Like, I'm not going to be able to stop. I'll just spend all night doing this, and then I'll get nothing done today. But then I still open it anyways because I somehow lie to myself, like, oh, I'll just read it for, like, you know, like a couple hours, and it'll be fine. Then I'll stop. Then I'll do work, and then the couple hours goes by, and I'm like, oh, like, it feels like no time has passed, and I will just want to keep going. That's actually not, wow, now that I say that out loud, that's actually really fucked. Because it's like, it's representing an actual measurable harm in my life, if not in actual financial burden and me spending money on it. It's more in the opportunity cost. I could be spending these tens of hours every week, honestly, sometimes even like tens of hours a day, on learning a skill or even getting sleep. You know, I complain about not getting, that's another thing. I could be getting sleep. I could be learning skills, a productive hobby. I could be socializing with people and building up relationships and getting friends. I could be doing more in, like, my YouTube stuff. Like, I could be making more money and doing more productive work. I have a problem. I have a serious problem. It's kind of embarrassing to even say. Fuck. Dude, I really am showing all the fucking signs of a fucking addict, bro. Why am I like this? Oh my god. And I don't know, if anything, like, with the streams that I did, it shows, like, I have the capability of doing a lot more work than I am doing right now. I don't know, this has kind of been like a bit of a wake-up call to me, like, holy fuck. Like, this quote-unquote hobby that I've considered to be relatively harmless for most of my life has actually been quite bad. I don't think I'm better off for reading all of those, you know, reincarnation mangas or web novels. Like, there's no skill that I've gained from that, you know, like, so what if I've learned about 100,000 different power systems in fantasy worlds that don't exist? When I am so woefully undereducated about the current financial system that I live in right now. Like, I didn't even get my first credit card until I think I was already a junior in college, maybe, or maybe a sophomore. I don't know. That's pretty late. I don't even know how to drive yet, guys. I don't have my own fucking license. I bring my passport around when I go get drinks at a bar or some shit. It's pretty stupid. I mean, I live in a city, so I don't need to drive, but still, and I'm sure, like, you know, if you live in a walkable city, like, you might understand where I'm coming from, but like, so it's just like in America, at least, it's kind of an expectation that you know how to drive. Like, I'm kind of behind on that too. I only just recently learned how to do my taxes. Even like getting new glasses, I've been sticking it out with my old pair of glasses for years, because even though they're super scratched up, because I just didn't want to bother with learning how to navigate my own health insurance to get glasses for relatively cheap. I'm just like kind of stunted in so many ways. I'm so behind in so many ways. I need to start doing catch up on this stuff. I need to quit trying to escape from my own life and my own troubles and lock in. I need to start life maxing. I need to get my XP bar up because it's currently low. Ooh, woo, something, something. Let's have sex and cheat on our partners. I need to get a partner to cheat on. I need to get a partner so that I can pretend that I don't have, so that I can then cheat on them, because I guess that's what you do when you become a YouTuber. If I spend even half of the time that I spent on all of these quote-unquote hobbies of mine, just like learning a skill, like, for example, you have to understand, especially for learning something new, that the bulk of progress is made actually early on. Like, if we're looking at a chart that graphs your level of skill at a certain hobby over time, it can be anything, right? Like, whatever thing you're trying to learn, it's kind of going to look like this, where you make the most gains early on. Just putting in, like, you know, 2 hours a day can get you so much progress in a skill, and then after a while you kind of slope off, but that's normal, right? Like, an expert is not going to make beginner gains at a skill. That's why you can catch up to experts in an area if you just put in the time to practice. And so if I had spent just like 2 hours a day of the time that I was spending reading fucking web novels, or even like on scrolling reels, like whatever fucking, you know, lowbrow activity, I'd be fucking pretty good at a lot of different things. Like, maybe either driving, this is supposed to be a car, or running, you know, like, this is supposed to be a heart. Look, he's happy because his owner is actually taking care of him by doing more cardio instead of just being a fucking strength training gooner. Or, you know, socializing and forging friendships. I don't know, like, there's just so much more to life than living in a fantasy world that doesn't exist, and I'm just not doing any of it. And just to be clear, if you are someone who plays games, or, you know, obviously we play Brawl Stars, right? Or, you know, watches videos or does some activity that is not productive, that's fine. Like, you can have non-productive hobbies. That's totally okay. Consuming stuff is fun. I like watching TVs and shows as much as the next guy. I'm actually a pretty big movie guy as well. Some of my favorite movies are I Saw the TV Glow and The Joker Folie à Deux. Those are some of the best movies, in my opinion, that I've ever seen. Like In the Mood for Love and La La Land. You know, I really like well-written movies. I think those are really cool. But I guess it's like the difference between an alcoholic and someone who is a casual social drinker every now and then. Like, these things are very different in the hands of different people. I cannot be allowed certain consumer hobbies, because once I consume something, it will consume me. That is not good. But like, hobbies where I'm actually learning something, like something that's more productive, you know, for myself, I need to try to steer towards those, because at least that way, if I get sucked into a productive hobby, I'm at least making something of my time. I think maybe I need to actually cut out a lot of stuff. And also, like, with movies, that's too, like, I actually used to watch a lot of movies with a friend. That at least was cool. Like, I was hanging out with a friend when I'm watching something. Like, a social hobby is probably also fine if I'm playing games with friends. That's at least better than playing games alone in my room like a chut. But even then, like, if all of your friends are also just playing games all day, then you're probably also just a group of alcoholics, really, that are enabling each other by doing social drinking. But it's like, you know, it's like, oh, you know, we're drinking together, guys. It's like, we're all ruining our lives together in one big hangout. At least we're doing this together. Maybe that actually can be dangerous in its own way, where you're just enabling each other to ruin your lives together. I don't know. I need to probably get a life. I need to get a life. That is what I've learned, I guess. And I'm actually starting. Before I record this video, I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up like for some kind of like boxing class or whatever, right? I thought about it, and I'm thinking, okay, if I want to do more physical activity and get a little healthier and do some more cardio while also learning a skill in a place that I can socialize with other people more, I think a class, actually a sports class, would be a pretty good option. I looked up online. I think near me there's like a Muay Thai gym or something, you know, like a place that teaches Muay Thai, boxing, MMA, stuff like that. So I signed up for a Muay Thai class. I'm gonna go to that tomorrow. Going forward, I'm not gonna quit web novels cold turkey or anything. Probably, like, I'll feel some kind of pull, I'm sure, and maybe I'll indulge myself for like a day out of a week. At the very least, every day for multiple hours every day is bad. That's not good. I gotta stop. And I think I'm gonna try to fill up my time more with some more productive hobbies, and also hopefully some more productive work, like actual work as well. Muay Thai is just a step too. I think I'm gonna, maybe once I get into that, maybe I'll start like just trying to socialize with people again, you know, reach out to some friends, maybe even meet new people. I'm actually doing a lot of traveling this year because I'm gonna be going to Brawl Cup in Berlin, which if you guys are there, pull up, I guess. Maybe even Worlds later this year, wherever that is gonna be held. If you guys have any tips on how to get better at this kind of thing, leave in the comments for other people who are struggling, and not me, because I am perfect, obviously, and I know everything about how to improve my life. You don't have to tell me this. I already know. If you've already written a comment on like a self-help kind of a comment, I'm good. But for other people who are watching this video, maybe they might want to get some help with their things. So yeah, leave a comment anyways, and I'm sure it'll help other people out if they're struggling with something like this, or no one's struggling with this problem and it's just me, and I'm the only chud in the world who's struggling with this fucking addiction to escapism that I've kind of outlined. Yeah, I don't know if I'm even gonna upload this video. This video is kind of a weird one. Whatever you decide to do though, be sure to always stay watching my videos. Am I right, guys? Listen, Brawl Stars, wonderful hobby to have, very productive, and watching my videos, very good for you, totally. If for no other reason than to I don't know, see an interesting train wreck happen in front of your eyes where I slowly fix myself only to fail. Wouldn't that be fun? I do an update video where I'm like, hey guys, so remember when I said I'd do Muay Thai? I doubled down and I picked up a new web novel, and now I'm 3,000 chapters into that one too. Either way, whatever happens, I'll update you guys on how my life progress is, I guess, on this channel, if you're interested. And if you're not, then I don't know. I'll probably still sneak it in somewhere, because that's kind of the whole point of the second channel, is just to yap about whatever the fuck's going on in my life. And if you're also someone who just kind of spends a lot more time than they're comfortable with on these kind of consuming escapism hobbies, maybe you could also occasionally, maybe like once a week, try something new that's productive. Just a thought. You don't have to, obviously. I'm not your fucking mom. But yeah, with that, that's gonna be it from me. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you. Peace. Bye. Mwah.